Yi Bufan travels through the devouring starry sky to obtain the Dao Zhi Jian system. Simplified basic body method and basic knife method. Successfully simplified basic body method and basic knife method. Simplify basic body movements. Dance with hands and feet, simplify basic sword techniques. Wield the sword recklessly. Simplified versions of Jiuchong Thunderblade, Annihilation of the World, Master's Secret Biography Foundation 312 Style, Jojia Secret Classic, Time and Space Essays. Poor talent and understanding. The main road is simple, and cultivation is so simple and rough. Please ask me to hang be. All heavens and all realms. Swallowing the starry sky, Pan Long, Manhuang Ji, Snow Eagle Lord, covering the sky, perfect, fighting through the sky, great Lord, and so on, the order is uncertain. Keywords of the novel. Simplify cultivation from devouring without pop-ups, simplify cultivation from devouring. Download the complete set of TXT, and read the latest chapters on simplifying cultivation from devouring. Chapter 1. The Great Way to Simplify, Simplifying Body Techniques and Knife Techniques. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Great Way to Simplify, Simplifying Body Techniques and Knife Techniques. Swallowing the Starry Sky, Earth, Jiangnan Base City, Yangzhou Mingyue Community. Villa 188, inside the Martial Arts Training Hall. The electronic clock on the wall shows 6 a.m. on June 10, 2056, but Yi Bufan is already sweating profusely like rain. I saw Yi Bufan step by step, waving his battle sword and repeating the moves in his basic body and sword techniques over and over again. Although basic knife techniques and body techniques are only the most basic moves, he practices them very seriously and completes every move and each pass meticulously. If it were to be judged by warriors, it would only be a bit unfamiliar and superficial. Yi Bufan took a deep breath and stopped practicing his body and sword techniques. I didn't expect to be able to traverse and arrive at the world of devouring the starry sky, but unfortunately, the martial artist's intelligence seems to be not very good, Yi Bufan sighed to himself. That's right, Yi Bufan is a traveler who has just traveled for about a week. Now that both parents have passed away, they have a car and a house. Although his parents didn't have much inheritance and didn't have great wealth, he lived much better than the protagonist Luo Cheng who devoured the starry sky. In addition, both parents are martial artists, and genetic optimization has been achieved to a certain extent. At the age of 18, Yi Bufan barely reached the level of a quasi-warrior. However, his intelligence is not high, and his basic swordsmanship and body techniques are not solid enough. My talent is useless when it comes to devouring the starry sky. Anyway, there needs to be a system to do it. It's better to give it to an old man as a secondary gift. There is no talent for cultivation, and it seems that there is no systematic golden finger or anything like it. It makes Yi Bufan feel a bit troubled, feeling that there is no hope in life. Ding, it has been detected that the host is feeling a bit overwhelmed. The system, which has been in operation for 7 days, is currently being urgently activated. 1%. 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%. 100%, the system has been activated. Binding in progress, 1%. 2%, 10%, 20, 100%, the Dao Zhi Jian system successfully bound. Sure enough, if you don't force yourself, you don't even know if you have a system. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret technique. 20% of basic body method and 19% of basic knife method. Detected that the simplified secret method, basic body method, has been simplified. Detected that the simplified secret method, basic knife technique, has been simplified. Simplify everything. Yi Bufan's mind moved. In the simplification of the basic body method, 1%. 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%. 100%, the simplification of the basic body method was successful. Dancing and dancing. In the simplification of basic knife technique, 1%. 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%. 100%, the simplification of basic knife technique was successful. Wielding the sword recklessly. After about a minute, the 2 secret books were finally simplified successfully. The simplified secret script is simpler, and the host can practice it on their own. Bufan scratched his head in confusion. From the literal meaning, it can be roughly seen to what extent it has been simplified. Basic body method enlightenment +1. Bufan rubbed his eyes and looked at the system panel in confusion. Basic body method enlightenment +1. System. Avenue to simplicity system. Host. Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret technique. 20.02% in basic body method and 19% in basic knife method. As an old bai who had been around for more than 10 years, Bufan quickly understood the role of the system. Simplifying the difficulty of cultivation. Just like before when he practiced basic body techniques, with his talent, he could only practice step by step. Perhaps if a movement is not standardized, he cannot improve his understanding of body techniques. But now, he scratched his head, rubbed his eyes, and his body movements gradually increased. As a traveler, his understanding of the golden finger system is not low, and he quickly understood the role of the system. Simplifying cultivation. In terms of body methods, there is no need to follow the textbook to practice according to the standard. Perhaps his every move can enhance his understanding of basic body methods. Against the heavens, it's so terrifying. Bufan was a bit excited, feeling that his future was bright. So he casually picked up the blood shadow battle knife under his feet and began to dance and wield the knife recklessly. Basic body method enlightenment +1. Basic knife technique enlightenment +0.1, basic body method enlightenment +1. Basic knife technique enlightenment +0.1. What's going on? Bufan was a bit puzzled when he saw the difference in the improvement of his body technique perception and sword technique perception. Is it difficult for him to have a natural talent for swordsmanship and body techniques, and is there a difference between high and low? The degree of simplification of the secret script is related to the frequency of the host using the system's broadest to simplest functions. The shorter the time difference between 2 simplified techniques, the lower the degree of simplification of the secret script. I see, even if there are enough secret scripts, we still need to choose useful ones to simplify, Bufan couldn't help but secretly say. The higher the frequency of using the Dao Zhi Jian function, the lower the degree of simplification of the secret script. After each practice of the basic body method, the perception increases by 1, but after each practice of the basic sword method, the perception only increases by 0.1, which shows that it is average. On the contrary, the lower the frequency of using the Dao Zhi Jian function, the higher the degree of simplification of the secret script. After a moment of contemplation, Bufan began to work hard on his cultivation. In fact, during battles, body and sword techniques are very important. According to common sense, training in body and sword techniques requires a very solid foundation, but this usually requires 10 years of hard work. Later, he often fought with monsters for several years, forming various evasion consciousness, and gradually became proficient in body and sword techniques. And to be proficient to the extreme, it is necessary to be able to pick it up at will like a conditioned reflex. A solid foundation, proficiency, and easy to pick up are the first 3 levels of body method foundation. And above these 3 levels are the subtle level body technique and the specialized level sword technique. Half an hour later, Bufan felt that he had a solid foundation in his body movements. After about 4 hours, Bufan's basic body techniques were incredibly proficient. After ordering takeout, Bufan started eating, resting, and regaining his strength. Then he started dancing and wielding his blood shadow war knife recklessly. Around 5 p.m., Yi Bufan's body movements reached a level of effortlessness. A few hours of dancing and dancing, theoretically speaking, have nothing to do with body movements. However, Yi Bufan inexplicably mastered the basic body method, which is terrifying. However, in terms of swordsmanship, there is only a solid foundation. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret technique. 100% of basic body method and 25% of basic knife method. After a single effort of cultivation, the basic body techniques were successfully practiced, but the basic sword techniques only reached a solid level of foundation. Yi Bufan shook his head slightly. Indeed, the time difference between using the Dao Zhi Jian system twice determines the degree of simplification and difficulty of practicing the secret script. So next time, we need to think carefully about what secrets to simplify and when to simplify them. Time flies by rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, a week has passed. At this moment, Yi Bufan stopped practicing basic sword techniques and body techniques because he can easily adjust his body, exert force, swing, retract the sword, center of gravity, and so on. This represents that the basic body and sword techniques have been successfully practiced by Yi Bufan. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Pressure and the idea of buying secret scripts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Pressure and the idea of buying secret scripts. He was able to reach such a level, indeed due to his own efforts, but the system definitely contributed. Simplify your cultivation, it's terrifying. From being a bit unfamiliar at the beginning, with only a superficial appearance, to now every move and every form seems to have been engraved in one's bones. Yi Bufan sighed with emotion. Ha ha ha. From today on, please ask me to hang beat. Fortunately, the sound insulation effect of the Wuxia Villa community is excellent, otherwise Yi Bufan would definitely be mistaken for a madman. Mingyue Community Center, Extreme Club. As a family member of a martial artist, Yi Bufan also has the status of a senior student in the Extreme Martial Arts School, and naturally has the right to enter. As is well known, below the martial arts master are the students of the martial arts school, roughly divided into junior students, intermediate students, and advanced students according to the standard of strength. I won't mention the specific details of junior, intermediate, and advanced students for now, because those who don't become martial artists will eventually become ants. To become a warrior, advanced students need to pass 2 assessments. The first assessment was for the physical fitness of the warrior, also known as the quasi-warrior assessment. The qualification line for strength, fist power, in the quasi-warrior assessment is 0.900 kilograms. In terms of speed, the passing line for the quasi-warrior assessment is 25 meters per second. In terms of neural response speed, it is also necessary to reach the qualified line. If you pass 3 assessments, you are considered a quasi-warrior. A prospective warrior who wants to become a warrior also needs to undergo a practical assessment. After all, having physical fitness does not fully qualify one to become a warrior. This is a bloody era, and only by passing the level in actual combat with monsters can one truly obtain the title of warrior. Yi Bufan's parents are warriors, and his genes are quite good. At the age of 18, he has almost the strength of a quasi-warrior. When Yi Bufan entered the Extreme Guild Hall, many people had already gathered here. Several of them are true warriors, which are very different from Yi Bufan. Extraordinary has arrived, would you like something to drink? A sweet-looking girl smiled in the lobby of the guild hall. The girl is also a first-class beauty, with fair skin, beautiful long legs, and seems to be a bit cautious about Yi Bufan. Actually, this is also very normal, after all, Yi Bufan has a car and a house. Moreover, his martial arts parents left behind a legacy after his death that was more than enough for him to live the rest of his life, and he could just eat and wait for death. In addition, Yi Bufan's martial talent is also good, reaching the level of a quasi-warrior at a young age. With various conditions, Yi Bufan's life is much better than that of Luo Feng, who can only have a secret love on his own. If it were Yi Bufan from before, who didn't know the plot, he might silently become a warrior, get married and have children, and then practice a trumpet. As a traveler, he doesn't have this mindset. After all, having no woman in one's heart is the only way to draw a sword naturally. And according to the current timeline, the plot of Luo Feng's rise is also about to begin. To be honest, there is not much time left for Yi Bufan. No, Yi Bufan shook his head slightly. I need to find the chief instructor. For Yi Bufan, who is familiar with the plot of the original work, he has gained many troubles that ordinary people do not have. Leaving aside the outside world, there are monsters as a threat on Earth. In a few years, the Golden Horn Giant will descend on Earth, and it seems that it will also launch a killing spree in Yangzhou. If it weren't for Luo Feng's efforts to turn the tide, it is estimated that Yangzhou, and even humans on Earth, would have gone extinct. After the greatest disaster on Earth, it was discovered by the powerful in the universe. For example, the Nolan Mountain family is eyeing the Earth and the mechanical spaceships and golden horned beasts on Earth, and will do anything to take the Earth into their possession. Is this the end? No. 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 Even worse, Earth is still a mysterious planet created by the strongest individual in the universe, the Sitting Mountain Man, with immeasurable value. Also, due to the talents of Luo Feng and Hong, they attracted the founders of the human race's giant axe. In the end, many giants of the human race engaged in fierce competition, and the people of Earth lost their so-called sovereignty over the Earth. When Luo Feng returned to Earth from the extraterritorial battlefield, he found that many immortal powerhouses were stationed on Earth. They knew that Luo Feng was a human from Earth, and even knew that Luo Feng was a disciple of the Chaos City Lord, so they still stopped Luo Feng who wanted to enter Earth. If Luo Feng is still like this, it is not an exaggeration for other Earthlings without any background to say that the Earth is a hell. Yi Bufan doesn't know if his time travel will have any impact on the future plot, but he will definitely not sit idly by. Just thinking about the future scenario can make Yi Bufan gasp for breath. Recalling the excitement of obtaining the system and greatly improving body and sword techniques before, Yi Bufan felt a sense of powerlessness again. Extreme Martial Arts School, 6th floor Martial Arts Training Hall. In front of Chief Instructor Wu Tong, there were senior students. Uncle Wu. Yi Bufan greeted. Extraordinary, you haven't come for over 10 days. Is it because of your parents' situation that you haven't recovered yet? Chief Instructor Wu Tong explained. I know you are very sad, but the days ahead will continue. Yi Bufan's talent, in the eyes of Yi Bufan who has traveled through time, is indeed not impressive, but that is also because of his opinion after reading the original work. But actually speaking, Yi Bufan can have the physique of a quasi-warrior at the age of 18. In Wu Tong's eyes, his talent is already very good. For example, the third high school where Luo Feng is located only has 3 senior students in total. During the college entrance examination, Luo Feng once again experienced a premonition of awakening his mental power and truly reached the level of a warrior. Otherwise, it would take at least 1 or 2 years for Luo Feng to reach the level of a quasi-warrior if he were to practice step by step. This is still in the situation where Luo Feng had the first 2 signs of awakening and improved his strength. Otherwise, even Luo Feng would need to be in his 20s to become a quasi-warrior. From this point of view, Yi Bufan's talent is already considered outstanding among the younger generation. In addition, the relationship with Yi Bufan's parents and Wu Tong is also good, and Wu Tong has a good attitude towards Yi Bufan. I have adjusted my mindset. I have something important to talk to Uncle Wu about this time, Yi Bufan smiled. Speaking of which, his original body was cooled due to excessive sadness, which happened to make him travel here at the right time. So adjusting one's mindset is not difficult for Yi Bufan at all. What's important? Wu Tong paused, seeming to understand something, and couldn't help but ask with a serious expression, "Is it difficult? Are you planning to participate in tomorrow's quasi-warrior assessment? A warrior walking on the edge of life and death may die, such as Yi Bufan's parents. If Yi Bufan becomes a warrior, he may soar to the sky, but he may also fall to the bottom in an instant. This is just one of them." Yi Bufan remained silent for a moment and said his purpose. "Additionally, I would like to purchase advanced secret scripts for basic knife technique and basic body technique. I'm not sure if Uncle Wu has any channels." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Shocked Wu Tong, get the secret scripts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Shocked Wu Tong, get the secret scripts. It is absolutely urgent to enhance our strength in order to cope with future crises. However, the basic knife technique and basic body technique have already been fully practiced by him, and he needs higher level body techniques and sword technique secrets. Of course, basic knife technique and basic body technique can be simplified through the Tao, so more advanced body techniques and sword technique secret scripts are also possible. You should also be aware that it's okay to ask others to help purchase cold weapons and other equipment. Wu Tong frowned. You cannot ask others to help you purchase various secret scripts, etc. I know that. Yi Bufan nodded. The secret script is copyrighted. For example, Luo Feng purchased the original work, Jiu Chong Lei Dao, himself. So in the joint information databases of Extreme Martial Arts School, Underground Alliance, Thunderbolt Martial Arts School, etc., it will be inputted. Luo Feng purchases the first 3 layers of 9 Thunder Knives. So after Luo Feng unleashes the 9 Thunder Saber, the first 3 are fine, but the others are not. For example, Yi Bufan has never bought the 9-fold Thunder Knife secret script, but he can use the 9-fold Thunder Knife. Once discovered, he will be arrested. Because this is suspected of unauthorized plagiarism and dissemination of the secret script of 9-fold Thunder Blade, infringing on the ownership of the secret script of the Thunder God. It is also difficult for those who do not become martial artists to purchase advanced secret scripts. For example, Extreme Home has many secret books for sale, but only Extreme Martial Arts School warriors can log into Extreme Home. Yi Bufan is not a warrior, he cannot land at all, and can only find another way. Of course, he cannot let others purchase on his behalf, such as asking Wu Tong to purchase on his behalf, so the information database only has Wu Tong's purchase information. Without Yi Bufan's purchase information, even if he obtains the secret script through other channels, Yi Bufan actually dares not practice. So I want to ask, if I'm not a warrior, can I purchase some advanced secret scripts, such as the micro-level body method, specialized level sword technique, and so on? Yi Bufan wants to know if Wu Tong has any channels for non-martial artists like him to purchase secret scripts. It's not without a solution, it's just about spending more money. Let's not talk about the issue of money for now. Wu Tong shook his head slightly. I feel that the basic body method and basic knife method, publicly taught by the martial arts school, should be enough for you to practice for a long time, right? Not enough. Yi Bufan said casually. Who made him hang B? The basic body technique and basic knife technique have been fully practiced. You can't chew too much, you just want to go to heaven before you learn to run. Wu Tong frowned, obviously not very satisfied with Yi Bufan's casual attitude. Yi Bufan is a student of the martial arts school, and Wu Tong is the overall instructor of the martial arts school. Wu Tong naturally understood at what level Yi Bufan's knife and body techniques were. Yi Bufan did not even complete his basic body techniques and basic knife techniques, and he still wants to learn micro-level body techniques and specialized knife techniques. A few days ago, besides being overly sad, I seem to have also unleashed my potential, Yi Bufan said solemnly. In just a few days, I transformed my grief and anger into strength, and even successfully practiced the basic body method and basic blade method. Regarding the concept of enlightenment, Yi Bufan has already considered it. For ordinary warriors and genius warriors, even if they foolishly wield their swords countless times, it may not necessarily be as rewarding as a genius warrior who carefully ponders once. It's not uncommon for some martial artists to suddenly become enlightened and become geniuses. So if this happens to Yi Bufan, others will only think that he has suddenly awakened and become a martial arts genius. Wu Tong took a cold breath and showed a hint of disbelief. Really? Body techniques and knife techniques are different from physical fitness. If one has good genetic talent, their physical fitness is generally not inferior. For example, if Yi Bufan's parents were warriors, his genes would be very strong, allowing him to enter the quasi-warrior level at the age of 18. But to improve one's body skills, it is generally necessary to go through multiple battles to accumulate experience. Nevertheless, many of the warrior-level warriors have not reached the advanced level of body methods, and their body methods have remained at the basic level. Like him, Wu Tong has lived for decades, but his body movements have only reached the level of being effortless. At a young age, Yi Bufan cultivated his body and sword techniques to a perfect foundation. It can be imagined how terrifying his talent is. Of course, Yi Bufan smiled. If Uncle Wu doesn't believe it, I can show it. Yi Bufan stood up and began to constantly flicker and move. In Wu Tong's eyes, Yi Bufan easily adjusted his center of gravity, strength, speed, and angle time and time again, and his body movements were intricately coordinated with his entire body muscles and bones. I didn't expect that you, Yi Bufan, had truly completed the cultivation of the basic body method. Wu Tong couldn't help but be surprised. Do you want to show off the knife technique again? Yi Bufan said casually. Upon hearing these words, Wu Tong couldn't help but turn black. Since Wu Tong retired and became a martial arts instructor, he has not practiced swordsmanship for a long time, and his swordsmanship has not reached the level of being easily accessible. If Yi Bufan really uses the level of swordsmanship that he can easily grasp, Wu Tong cannot see it because of his low realm. Isn't this very awkward? No need, Wu Tong awkwardly shook his head. Let's talk about buying you advanced body techniques and sword technique secrets first. I am also your martial arts instructor, and it is not difficult to find a way to purchase advanced secret scripts for students like you who have successfully practiced the basic body method and basic knife method. However, I also need to remind you that the difficulty of cultivation is not low, including the advanced level body technique and the specialized level sword technique. Many generals level warriors have not comprehended micro level body techniques and specialized level sword techniques. If you purchase this kind of secret script, the money you spend is likely to be wasted. Are you sure you want to buy it? I'm sure. Could Uncle Wu please help me purchase the relevant secrets for the micro-level body method and the specialized level sword method first? Yi Bufan smiled. Since you have made up your mind, let me think of a solution, Wu Tong chuckled. Wu Tong's efficiency was very high. On the same day, he had already found a channel for non-martial artists to purchase micro-level body methods and specialized level knife technique secret scripts for Yi Bufan. Yi Bufan purchased the secret script through the channels provided by Wu Tong, and even if he practiced the secret script, it would not cause any trouble. The next morning, around 10 o'clock. In Mingyue community, a stranger came to Yi Bufan's private garden. Mr. Yi, this is the secret recipe you ordered yesterday. You can open this suitcase with your fingerprint, sir. The stranger held a suitcase. Good. Yi Bufan nodded and ran his finger over the top of the suitcase. Drip, fingerprint verification passed. A synthesized electronic sound sounded, and then the suitcase opened, revealing 2 books about several tens of millimeters thick, with 2 CDs next to them. Yi Bufan couldn't help but smile when he saw the large characters on the 2 secret scripts, which read, Advanced Body Method and Specialized Blade Technique. The previously simplified secret script using the Dao Zhi Jian function has been successfully practiced, and now we can start simplifying new secret scripts. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Dancing with a Magnifying Glass. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Dancing with a Magnifying Glass. However, it is best to simplify the two secret methods one by one. Otherwise, like last time, there will always be a low level of simplification in a secret method, which will affect the progress of cultivation. The martial arts training hall on the second floor of the villa. Yi Bufan is watching a beginner-level body technique secret book in his hand, and there is also a specialized level knife technique beside him. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret techniques. 100% basic body method, 100% basic knife method, and 0% advanced body method. After briefly browsing through the secret book of the Entering Micro-Level Body Method, Yi Bufan found that there was already a Entering Micro-Level Body Method item in the system panel. At the same time, Yi Bufan has a general understanding of the difficulty of entering micro-level body methods, and the difficulty is definitely higher than that of basic body methods. If we simplify the two scripts together this time, for Yi Bufan, he really doesn't have a chance to master them before the next quasi-warrior assessment. System, simplify the micro-level body method first. Yi Bufan's mind moved. In the simplification of the advanced body method, 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%, 100%, the simplification was successful. Holding a magnifying glass and dancing with hands and feet. The use of the avenue to simplify function this time has been separated by 7 days, so the simplification effect should be quite good. Just seeing the simplified system's advanced body cultivation method, Yi Bufan's mouth twitched. Is this system really reliable? Last time, the basic body method was simplified to dancing, and Yi Bufan couldn't understand it either. But this time, just holding a magnifying glass and dancing around, can you really understand the micro-level body method? You should know that truly reaching the micro-level represents the ability to have extremely subtle control over strength and body, and make the most subtle evasions with the minimum cost. Various mobile dodges, as if calculated by a computer. But here there is no need to control oneself, nor does it require mental calculation of evasion. Just holding a magnifying glass and dancing around, this system is not playing with him, is it for fun? However, with a trial-and-error mentality, Yi Bufan really went to the convenience store in the community to buy a magnifying glass, and then bounced back home. Simply holding the magnifying glass and dancing for a while, Yi Bufan did not see the prompt sound. At this moment, he became even more suspicious that the system might be deceiving him. However, after practicing for a period of time, the system prompt finally appeared. Advanced Body Method Enlightenment +1. The system is indeed not deceiving me. This is my good system. The system prompt finally appeared, otherwise Yi Bufan would really doubt whether the system was deceiving him. However, even if it can increase insight, Yi Bufan still has some concerns. I really don't know what incredible things he will do with the simplified system in the future. And the more difficult the secret, even if simplified, it is not as easy as imagined. Dancing and dancing like before can increase proficiency by 1. But now it is estimated that it will take 10 times to increase proficiency by 1. According to his speculation, it would take a week to truly comprehend the micro-level. However, if others knew that Yi Bufan could master micro-level body techniques within a week, they wouldn't envy, or hate him. Do I have poor comprehension? Yi Bufan couldn't help but feel excited. The Tao is as simple as the Tao, and cultivation is so simple and rough. Please ask me to hang B. It's okay if his intelligence is poor, because Yi Bufan can reach the micro-level within a week with simplified cultivation in the most basic functions of the Tao. People with high intelligence on Earth, such as Luo Feng and Hong, have a far superior intelligence than Yi Bufan. You can give them a week's time, but you can't just complete the basic body method and directly reach the micro level. So, Yi Bufan, this fake genius, has a remarkable speed of cultivation, far surpassing true geniuses like Luo Feng and Hong. With this in mind, Yi Bufan danced wildly like a fool, holding a magnifying glass, and began the great cultivation of advanced body techniques. The speed of cultivation depends on whether he dances fast or not. Extreme Guild Hall. Why don't we go see Yi Bufan? Wu Tong, who had been busy for a while, stretched lazily. Yi Bufan was the channel through which Wu Tong found the secret techniques of entering micro-level body techniques and specialized level knife techniques. Taking the advanced level body method as an example, many generals and strong warriors find it difficult to comprehend, and the difficulty can be imagined. So Wu Tong is not very optimistic about the results of Yi Bufan's cultivation after purchasing these two secret books. However, to Wu Tong's knowledge, Yi Bufan's intelligence seemed to have undergone a transformation a few days ago. Surprisingly, in a short period of time, he successfully cultivated his basic body in sword techniques, and his understanding is terrifying. So the result of cultivation is a bit hard to say. Apart from wanting to know about Yi Bufan's cultivation achievements, the tasks of extreme martial arts instructors are actually similar, with the main purpose of teaching students and discovering talents among them. Just like in the original work, Jiang Yan was extremely excited when he discovered Luo Feng's talent in cultivating genetic energy. Jiang Yan, who recommends Luo Feng, will also receive significant contributions from martial arts schools, and so on. So Wu Tong naturally pays great attention to talents like Yi Bufan. Just as he left the extreme martial arts school, Wu Tong saw Yi Bufan dancing with a magnifying glass. What is he doing? Wu Tong's eyes widened and he looked at Yi Bufan's figure in astonishment. To be honest, Yi Bufan's actions are very eye-catching. But now the cruelty lies in the fact that even his thoughts and feelings are far from being understood at the level of micro-level, but in Yi Bufan's body, it is like an optional plaything. In fact, Wu Tong has not yet learned the subtle level body method's secret script, but as someone who has learned the secret script, he knows more about the difficulty involved. As a result, on Yi Bufan's body, this sharp eye movement actually showed him traces of advanced body techniques. No reason, right? If one could easily comprehend the advanced level body techniques by dancing and holding a magnifying glass, how could there be so many generals who could not comprehend the advanced level? Anyway, Yi Bufan's actions have overturned Wu Tong's understanding of the micro-level body method. Although the subtle level body method is obscure and difficult to understand, how could it become so simple on Yi Bufan? Wu Tong looked skeptical about life. Holding a magnifying glass and dancing like a big fool, what is this considered as a beginner level? However, with Yi Bufan as a warning from the past, Wu Tong plans to find a place with no one to try in the future. Cough, cough. Wu Tong coughed softly a few times, indicating his presence. Yi Bufan couldn't help but pause when he saw the arrival of Wu Tong. Then the pervasive Dao Yun of dancing and dancing with a magnifying glass dissipated like smoke, making Yi Bufan appear extremely comical at this moment. Did you just practice the advanced level body method? Wu Tong looked at Yi Bufan in surprise, thinking that the feeling just now was an illusion. Just practicing and playing, who knew that as soon as I picked up the magnifying glass, I felt particularly inspired when practicing micro-level body methods, Yi Bufan said solemnly. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Specialization level equals turning circle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Specialization level equals turning circle, do you believe me? Wu Tong's mouth twitched. But seeing that you do have the potential to reach the micro level, I won't say much more. Your instructor, my contribution value may depend on you in the future. Thank you to the instructor for helping me find a way to buy the secret script, Yi Bufan smiled. I won't disturb your practice anymore, you keep playing music and dancing. Wu Tong said with a strange expression on his face. 7 days later. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret techniques. 100% basic body method, 100% basic knife method, and 100% advanced body method. After 7 days of holding a magnifying glass and dancing around, the progress of the micro-level body method is also constantly improving. Today, the practice is finally successful. This made Yi Bufan feel that the system was indeed terrifying. Although entering the micro-level is only the second level, there are actually very few warriors who can reach this level, and only a very small proportion of them are actually warriors. First, let's talk about the difficulty level. To reach the micro-level, one needs to hone their skills through life and death battles with monsters. It is easy for monsters to attack and harm themselves by moving their bodies slightly, which is like dancing on a tightrope. In the battle of life and death, life is already on the line, and a slight mistake may lead to a small life. Moreover, with the refinement of advanced body techniques, the strength of the other side in battle cannot differ too much, otherwise the refinement will have no effect. This also leads to most of the generals among the warriors not reaching the micro level. Most warriors at the level of generals have practiced for decades, and this may not necessarily lead to the cultivation of advanced body techniques. Decades and 7 days are completely incomparable. In the original work, Luo Feng also relied on his unique spiritual and mental abilities to quickly enter the micro-level body method. But he also spent more time than Yi Bufan. Even such a genius has already been amazed as a genius. The director of the Thunderbolt martial arts school discovered that Luo Feng had used his pseudo-entering micro-level body method relying on his psychic power, and they all wanted to spend a lot of money digging into the corners of the extreme martial arts school. In short, those who can cultivate to the micro-level are all geniuses. If it weren't for the system, I might never have been able to reach the micro-level in my lifetime, Yi Bufan said with a hint of excitement. I can also be considered a fake genius with the system's minimalist functionality now. Yi Bufan, who tasted the sweetness, naturally couldn't be easily satisfied. He dug out the specialized knife technique he had previously purchased from the corner of the martial arts training hall. The improvement of sword techniques is not much easier than body techniques. Yi Bufan has been practicing basic body and sword techniques since childhood, but he has only barely reached a solid level. In short, every small progress is very difficult. However, after simplifying the basic knife technique last time, in just a few days, I quickly gained a solid foundation and reached the point of being able to pick it up easily. The system is extremely simple, making his cultivation speed incredibly fast. After flipping through the specialized level knife technique secrets, Yi Bufan found that there was already an additional item called Specialized Level Knife Technique in the system panel. According to Yi Bufan's understanding, the body and sword techniques on Earth can be roughly divided into 4 levels, namely basic, subtle, specialization, perfect, perfection, artistic conception. So the difficulty of specialized level swordsmanship is no less than that of advanced level. After watching the specialized level sword technique, Yi Bufan's head swelled. The knife technique above is obscure and difficult to understand, and he can hardly comprehend anything. System, simplify specialized knife techniques. Yi Bufan said helplessly. In the simplification of specialized blade technique, 1%. 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%. 100%, the simplification of specialized blade technique was successful. Holding the knife and spinning in circles. Just like last time, the interval between using the avenue to simplify function is 7 days, and the simplification effect is very good. Although Yi Bufan had anticipated it earlier, he couldn't help but be surprised to see the simplified cultivation method of the specialized level sword technique. A serious and specialized knife technique that explains precise control of the angle, force, method of exerting force, and the coordination of muscles and bones throughout the body. At this point in the system, the unprofessional specialized knife technique has turned into holding the knife and spinning in circles. Is this related to the angle, force, method of force, center of gravity, etc. of the knife? However, after repeatedly using the function of the Dao Zhi Jian, Bufan has no doubts about the system's ability. Practiced. Bufan took a deep breath. There is no problem with eccentric cultivation methods. Handsome is only temporary, while strength is lifelong. Bufan picked up the knife on the ground and then started spinning in circles. It's really a bit of a feeling, Bufan said as he spun around, seemingly grasping the essence of the specialized level sword technique. For example, the previous Bufan foolishly swung his knife countless times, but it may not necessarily be as rewarding as the current Bufan's casual spin. Expert level knife technique insight +1. However, although this cultivation method feels more, it's just a bit dizzy. There are currently 6 days left until the quasi-warrior assessment on July 1st. Based on the increased efficiency of his perception, Bufan estimates that he may not be able to master the specialized level sword technique before the assessment of quasi-warriors. However, Bufan did not panic at all. After being assessed as a quasi-warrior, it was not that he could continue to cultivate. Sooner or later, he could cultivate a specialized level sword technique. The knife light kept rising in the circle, and Bufan either frowned or looked happy, or felt dizzy and rested for the next 6 days. Bufan did not go out, silently spinning and pondering the technique of drawing a sword. After all, his cultivation method does have a bit of uniqueness. Mindfulness community. Entering July, the weather has become extremely hot, and at this time, a big sun is shining in the sky, casting infinite light. Bufan still circled rhythmically in the martial arts training hall. It's 9:30 now, and the assessment for quasi-warriors starts at 10 o'clock. Bufan glanced at the electronic clock. Then stop spinning and let me take a break, otherwise dizziness will affect the assessment of nerve reaction speed. In fact, with the advanced body method, Bufan will definitely not fail the assessment. However, there is no absolute thing in the world, so being cautious is always right. Bufan is very familiar with the Extreme Guild Hall in Mindfulness community and enters it with ease. Perhaps due to today's quasi-warrior assessment, there are many more people in the lobby of the Extreme Guild Hall than usual. There are also many unfamiliar faces that Bufan doesn't know, such as Luo Feng, whom he has never seen before. Extraordinary has arrived. The chief instructor said you are here to receive the assessment of quasi-warriors. The sweet girl walked towards the extraordinary. That's right. Bufan nodded and then scanned around the students wearing advanced student IDs. He doesn't know Luo Feng, but Yang Wu's recognition is not low. After all, there are very few people with scars on their faces. If you find Yang Wu, then naturally Luo Feng is beside him. If Bufan had the idea of holding onto his thigh before, now he himself is already a thigh. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Advancing to Micro-Level, 5 Hearts Towards Heaven Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Advancing to Micro-Level, 5 Hearts Towards Heaven Method. 10 o'clock. The Martial Arts Training Hall on the 6th floor of the Extreme Martial Arts Academy is about to begin the assessment of potential martial artists. Bufan, you come first. Wu Tong took out Bufan's ID card and swiped it over the nearby punching machine. The realm of Earth warriors in this era is different from that of warriors in the universe, but they are judged based on actual combat. However, there is a hard standard for whether to become a quasi-warrior. In terms of fist power, the qualified line for quasi-martial artists is 900 kilograms. In terms of speed, the qualified line for quasi-warriors is 25 meters per second. The final assessment of neural response speed also needs to meet the qualified line. Only by passing all 3 aspects can one pass the quasi-warrior assessment and proceed to the next round of practical assessment. If you pass the actual combat assessment, you can become a true warrior and freely enter and exit the wilderness to hunt monsters. Who? Yi Bufan stood in front of the punching machine and took a deep breath. Then the right fist hit hard, hitting the center of the punch testing machine's target. Even if Yi Bufan's cultivation has always been very unprofessional, it does not mean that Yi Bufan's control over himself is also unprofessional. 920 kilograms, pass, next, Tongguan. Chief Instructor Wu Tong smiled slightly. As each student completes their assessment, the first item of the quasi-warrior assessment ends. Only one person failed the boxing test, and there are still 8 people left for the second speed assessment. Card. Chief Instructor Wu Tong walked over to the speed tester and turned on the switch. The first one, Yi Bufan. According to the normal storyline, the order of testing should be exactly the opposite of the last boxing test. For example, if Yi Bufan was the first to test his fist power before, then this time the speed of the test should be the last one. However, due to the relationship between Yi Bufan and Wu Tong, as well as Wu Tong's high opinion of Yi Bufan, the order this time is actually the same as last time. Yi Bufan only adjusted his breathing slightly before starting to run quickly. With the technique of advanced body techniques, Yi Bufan runs very relaxed, but that doesn't mean his speed is slow. On the contrary, due to his extremely flexible movement of physical strength, he runs like a gust of wind. When Yi Bufan stopped, his score was already displayed on the speed tester. 27.8 meters per second. His fist strength test was just over the line, but his speed exceeded the qualified line by a lot. Wu Tong was also surprised when he saw Yi Bufan's grades. Previously, Yi Bufan sometimes failed to meet the qualification line if he performed poorly. But now Yi Bufan's test results have exceeded the passing line by a lot. Of course, as the runway was straight, Wu Tong couldn't see it either. Yi Bufan had already mastered the subtle level body technique. After Yi Bufan's test, others conducted speed tests one after another, and 2 more were eliminated in this speed test. Currently, only 6 people are left to participate in the third item. The Neural Response Speed Assessment. You 6 come with me. Wu Tong brought a group of martial artists and the remaining 6 people who participated in the assessment to the neuroreaction testing room in the martial arts training hall. There is only a tall instrument placed on the ground here, with the front of the instrument resembling 6 Gatling machine guns. However, this muzzle is much more numerous than a regular Gatling machine gun, with dozens of openings in the Foot Clan. The first one, Yi Bufan, said the chief instructor Wu Tong directly. Yi Bufan walked calmly to the front of the testing machine gun, within a circle with a diameter of approximately 3.6 meters. As soon as the switch is turned on, the edge of the circle with a diameter of 3.6 meters immediately emitted a hazy red light continuously upwards. For a moment, Yi Bufan, who was inside the circle, seemed to be surrounded by a hazy red veil. I won't say much about the assessment rules, I'm looking forward to your grades, said Chief Instructor Wu Tong with a smile before pressing the red button on the instrument. The huge muzzle of the neural response testing machine began to rotate rapidly, and dozens of muzzles in the muzzle almost instantly burst out with bullets. The speed of red light bullets varies, and even their flight paths are not parallel. The neural response test for the assessment level of quasi-warriors is very easy for me, who has mastered the subtle level body method. Yi Bufan remained extremely calm. I saw Yi Bufan dodging in the circle, as relaxed as walking leisurely in the courtyard. Yi Bufan's movements were like flowing clouds and water, and his every step was not big, and his dodge range was also very small. But the body can move slightly, more efficiently and accurately avoiding red light bullets, and freely navigate through the flood of bullets. Does Yi Bufan's previous body method have this strength? Previously, his basic body techniques were not very solid, why now it seems like he has been practicing for decades again. The most important thing is that he doesn't lose his center of gravity with every movement, and can instantly change direction, as if everything is under his control. Is it difficult? The instructors were surprised one by one. They were surprised by Yi Bufan's reaction speed, but they couldn't be entirely certain that the body technique used by Yi Bufan was at a subtle level. You guessed it right, Yi Bufan's body technique is at the level of entering the micro level. Wu Tong said with a relieved expression on his face. Although Wu Tong had previously seen that Yi Bufan had mastered a complete basic body method in a short period of time, he had already noticed that Yi Bufan's intelligence had undergone a transformation. Later on, I even saw Yi Bufan dancing with a magnifying glass, and he actually had the rhythm of subtle body movements on his body. At that time, he guessed that Yi Bufan had a high probability of being able to master the micro-level body method. He just didn't expect that Yi Bufan could master such a fast speed. As for the other martial arts instructors, their expressions varied, but they all speculated that the death of Yi Bufan's parents may have had a significant impact on him. Surprisingly, his intelligence has been greatly enhanced. Otherwise, with Yi Bufan's previous understanding, how could he have mastered the micro-level body method so quickly? Time flies by rapidly, and 1 minute later, the neural response testing machine slows down and stops rotating, and a large string of data appears on the screen. Within 60 seconds, hit 0 times without touching the red light. Congratulations on passing the Quasi-Warrior assessment. Chief Instructor Wu Tong chuckled. Captain, I originally planned to go to the wilderness with you after the probationary assessment, but it seems like I won't be able to go now. Yi Bufan, this advanced genius, you really have to be busy next. The white-haired spiritual master chuckled. I'm a bit sorry for being busy with that, Captain, Wu Tong awkwardly said. The white-haired spiritual monk nodded and then left the extreme hall. Afterwards, other students also took a series of neural reaction speed tests, and except for Yi Bufan, the final score was similar to the original work. After the assessment was completed, Yi Bufan and others signed a practical assessment contract, and the effect was probably similar to that of life and death. Take a look. After signing the contract, Wu Tong walked up to the nearby keyboard and quickly pressed some buttons. A projection screen instantly appeared on the wall of the martial arts training hall, with an article titled Gene Primitive Cultivation Method. 5 Hearts Towards Heaven Method. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 5 Heart Towards the Sky Method equals Sunbathing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 5 Heart Towards the Sky Method equals Sunbathing. There are many guiding techniques on Earth, but the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven cultivation method is currently the only way to cultivate genetic energy on Earth. The 5 Hearts Towards Heaven technique, in other words, is a method that makes it easier for quasi-warriors to sense genetic energy. Before Yi Bufan's journey, he had a preliminary understanding of the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method, so Wu Tong's serious explanation was almost completely filtered out by him. He just quietly looked at the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method in front of him, wanting to finish it as soon as possible and then simplify it through the system. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret techniques. 100% of Advanced Body Method, 88% of Specialized Blade Method, and 0% of 5 Hearts Towards Heaven Method. Seeing that the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method was already present in the system panel, Yi Bufan couldn't help but take a deep breath. Simplify the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method. Yi Bufan's thoughts moved. In the simplification of the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method, 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%, 100%, the simplification of the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method was successful. Facing the sky. Basking in the sun. The main road this time seems to have been simplified twice unexpectedly. Good guy. Yi Bufan twitched at the corner of his mouth. I had known that the simplified secret script was not normal, but I didn't expect it to be so abnormal. This system doesn't think solar energy is genetic energy. Can it absorb genetic energy by being exposed to sunlight? Directly sunbathing not only absorbs genetic energy, but also absorbs a lot of solar energy. I guess we can also absorb ultraviolet rays, right? Although Yi Bufan was skeptical about the simplification of the system, his doubts were quickly dispelled. 5 hearts towards heaven enlightenment plus 5,000. System. Avenue to simplicity system. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Do not enter the flow. Secret techniques. 100% of advanced body method, 88% of specialized blade technique, and 50% of 5 hearts towards heaven technique. Although they are currently in the martial arts training hall, the refractable sunlight can also come in, so Yi Bufan can also be considered sunbathing. In this case, the simplified gene energy cultivation method of sunbathing has started to operate automatically, which is to sense gene energy. The first time sensing cosmic energy is the most difficult, and it may take a year and a half for a quasi-warrior. Of course, geniuses like Luo Feng can sense cosmic energy within a day. And what about Yi Bufan? He was just sunbathing, and a hint of realization suddenly appeared in his mind, as if he had truly sensed the genetic energy. Moreover, the system panel is also very intuitive, and the proficiency of the 5 hearts to heaven method has been directly increased to 50%. Although Yi Bufan was somewhat surprised by the increase in proficiency this time, he didn't think much about it. After all, being able to feel is sensing, not sensing is not sensing. It is normal for proficiency to suddenly increase to 50% if genetic energy is detected. Without saying a word, Yi Bufan immediately followed the new method of cultivation in his mind and silently felt the original energy of the cosmic energy gene. When Yi Bufan deliberately operates the gene energy cultivation method to absorb the gene energy, a strange energy quickly flows into Yi Bufan's body. Compared to the speed of passive absorption of gene energy just now, it is more than 100 times faster. After these intangible and intangible genes could enter Yi Bufan's body, they were crazily devoured by every cell in Yi Bufan's body. Subsequently, countless cells continued to grow stronger, and genes began to be continuously optimized. With the evolution of genes, both the skin on the surface of Yi Bufan's body and the bones and muscles inside are rapidly undergoing transformation. Yi Bufan's strength is also rapidly improving. Luo Feng absorbed the genetic energy for the first time, and his body took about 2 hours to fully absorb it. And Yi Bufan basked in the sun, almost only about a minute had passed before he was fully absorbed. Yi Bufan couldn't help but sigh, this simplified cultivation method is against heaven. As for how much strength has been improved. The intuitive representation in the system panel is that Yi Bufan never entered the mainstream and stepped into the second stage of apprenticeship. In terms of evaluation on Earth, it is a moderate warrior-level warrior. According to the cultivation method, the human body has never actively absorbed cosmic energy since birth, Yi Bufan couldn't help but say. So I have been in a state of hunger all along. The first time I absorbed cosmic energy, I absorbed the most amount, and it was also the fastest time my strength improved. The first time practicing genetic energy, the amount of strength improvement also represents a warrior's qualifications. It is quite common for some people to increase their fist power by 300 kilograms during their first practice. Someone can add 600 kilograms, which is considered quite outstanding. Someone has added 1,000 kilograms. This is considered an elite. Some people can add 2,000 kilograms, that's genius. After the first absorption of genetic energy by Luo Feng, according to his original words, it is estimated that one punch can now weigh 1,500 kilograms, perhaps even higher. Of course, at this time, Luo Feng had not yet awakened his spiritual and mental abilities, so he was far from demonstrating the exaggerated increase of 2,000 kilograms boxing power. When Luo Feng was assessed as a quasi-warrior, his fist strength was approximately 1,100 kilograms. Yi Bufanmo estimated that his current strength is around 2,000 kilograms of fist power. So for the first time, he absorbed genetic energy and increased his punching power by 1,100 kilograms, which can also be considered an elite. In fact, Yi Bufan's genetic talent is better than Luo Feng's, which is actually quite normal. Just like Yi Bufan did not have the premonition of awakening his mental power time and time again like Luo Feng, but he was still able to reach the level of a quasi-warrior at the age of 18, which can be considered a manifestation of great talent. It seems that Yi Bufan's martial arts talent is higher than Luo Feng's, but Yi Bufan is not happy at all. Because of his qualifications, he is capable of making a move on Earth. And the reason why Yi Bufan is unhappy is not mainly due to talent. The main factor is the minimalist system of the Tao, which simplifies his cultivation methods and allows him to comprehend faster, which is equivalent to an improvement in his comprehension. But his genetic innate talent has not been altered by the Dao Zhi Jian system. And if we can simplify the talents, we don't know if they will increase or decrease. However, genetic talent is not really a big deal, and my talent is not too bad either, Yi Bufan comforted himself. Moreover, there are many heavenly and earthly treasures in the starry sky that can directly enhance my strength. As long as I have money, resources, etc., I can quickly enhance my strength in an instant. When it's not enough to absorb genetic energy, we can still cooperate with guidance techniques in the future. Taking Luo Feng's practice of the Nine Thunder Knife as an example, as long as the level of understanding of the Nine Thunder Knife is high enough, the speed of absorbing gene energy will be greatly increased. The Dao Zhi Jian system can simplify the difficulty of cultivation, and I can easily enhance my understanding, which is equivalent to an increase in my talent. Besides, it's not difficult to really improve one's qualifications, such as bloodline evolution agents, domain master level bloodlines, and so on. So there's no need to worry too much about qualifications. Just one more thing, it has always been strange to me. Why did I already realize the genetic energy, and this time I absorbed so much genetic energy that the progress of the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven technique has remained at 50%. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Inability to complete. Sun the Moon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Inability to complete. Sun the Moon. Is it possible that indirect exposure to the sun is not enough? You still need to face the sun directly. Yi Bufan couldn't help but guess. That's all for the genetic energy cultivation method 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method. Before Yi Bufan could figure it out, Wu Tong had already stopped explaining. You can start trying to sense and cultivate genetic energy within this month. As for the more precious guidance technique, it will only be obtained at a cost when you become warriors. There is currently only one method to cultivate genetic energy on Earth, but there are millions of guidance techniques available. Practicing different guidance techniques can greatly increase the speed of cultivating genetic energy, making guidance techniques the most precious secret of various forces. As for why can the guidance technique improve the speed of cultivating genetic energy? For example, if an ordinary person uses the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven cultivation method alone, they may only be able to refine their genetic energy for 5 minutes a day, and their body has already absorbed and saturated it. But if one practices advanced guidance techniques, the capacity of cells will increase significantly, allowing them to absorb for 10 or even 20 minutes. Yi Bufan, Luo Feng, Yang Wu, and Bai Yang, you three should go back and practice well first. Wu Tong looked at Yi Bufan and the other 4. Wu Tong saw that Yi Bufan had passed the quasi-martial arts assessment and clearly wanted to recruit him into the extreme martial arts school in advance. In general, quasi-warriors must pass practical assessments and become true warriors before they are eligible to join various forces. Yi Bufan is also considered an insider of the martial arts school, and of course, he is aware that the extreme martial arts school will also recruit true geniuses in advance. And what kind of person can be called a genius? At the age of 18, Yi Bufan possessed the physical fitness of a quasi-warrior and also comprehended the subtle-level body techniques, which belongs to the category of geniuses. For example, the protagonist Luo Feng, due to the awakening of his spiritual teacher talent, has greatly improved his physical fitness, which is about 2,000 kilograms. Outsiders do not know that he is a spiritual master, but they believe that he has a high aptitude for cultivating genetic abilities, so he is also considered a genius. Extraordinary, we have a very familiar relationship, so I'll tell you straight. Wu Tong couldn't help but become serious when he saw Luo Feng and the others leave. Your parents are members of the Extreme Martial Arts School, and you are also considered an insider, so on behalf of the Extreme Martial Arts School, I invite you to join in advance before the actual combat assessment. Of course, to attract talents of this level, we also need to personally review from the headquarters. I only have the right to recommend, and cannot make decisions without authorization. But you were also considered a half-member of the Extreme Martial Arts School before, and we will definitely not treat you unfairly as a genius. You can rest assured of this. No problem, Yi Bufan said straightforwardly. The reason why I was able to grow so quickly is also thanks to Uncle Wu's help. From the gradual growth of Luo Feng in the original work on Earth, it can be seen that the Extreme Martial Arts School is indeed generous in treating geniuses. Free copies of the 9 Thunder Knives, half-price dragon blood worth 80 billion yuan, etc. are all given as gifts. If this kind of fake genius can enter it, he can also use these resources to quickly enhance his strength. Very good. Wu Tong's eyes lit up when he heard this. It seems that my future contribution to the martial arts school will depend on you to earn it. Wu Tong immediately took out his phone and said, "Headquarters," and the next moment his phone automatically dialed over. Wu Tong, why did you suddenly contact me at this time? Did you find a genius in this quasi-warrior assessment? The gray-haired old man on the other side of the phone looked forward to it. Today is the time for the assessment of potential martial artists in the Extreme Martial Arts School. Calculating the time, the assessment is almost over. At this time, Wu Tong specifically contacted him, it is likely that he had discovered a genius. By Bo, you guessed right, and it's the kind of genius I don't have the qualifications to recruit directly, Wu Tong smiled. Because he passed the quasi-martial arts assessment at the age of 18, and most importantly, he also understood the subtle level body method. Hiss. The old man with white hair was taken aback by the words and took a cold breath. At a young age, Yi Bufan comprehends micro-level body techniques, which indicates that his comprehension is extremely amazing and has high cultivation value. Quick, fast, fast. The old man with white hair suddenly stood up from his seat and urged repeatedly, "Your kid, hurry up and take him to headquarters. I will notify the senior management now to arrange for someone to prepare for his assessment." "Okay, I'll take someone to the headquarters right away," Wu Tong said excitedly. The call ended, and Yi Bufan left the Extreme Guild building with Wu Tong. The scorching sun shone on Yi Bufan's body, causing him to frown. It's not that it's too hot, but facing the sunlight directly. The proficiency of the 5 hearts towards heaven technique still hasn't changed much. This indicates that in order to achieve perfection in the simplified 5 hearts to heaven method, it is not necessary to face the sun directly, but to require other conditions. Is it difficult because of the wrong posture? It shouldn't be either. After all, after simplification, it's just for sunbathing, so there shouldn't be any requirements for posture. I understand. Yi Bufan seemed to have figured something out, and his eyes lit up. Sunbathing is not necessarily necessary during the day, nor is it impossible at night. In fact, at night. Due to the Earth's rotation, Yi Bufan cannot directly bask in the sun and can only bask in the moon. But the moon is not a star, it does not emit light on its own. So the moonlight seen at night, in other words, is the sunlight reflected by the moon. So Yi Bufan may need to bask in the moon in order to fully practice the simplified 5 hearts towards heaven method. In theory, whether it's sunbathing or sunbathing on the moon, Yi Bufan previously believed that it has little to do with absorbing cosmic energy. In fact, after being exposed to the sun, Yi Bufan truly sensed and absorbed the genetic energy. So Yi Bufan is also very excited about the upcoming indirect sun exposure to the moon. Is it difficult to absorb the essence of the sun and the moon and refine the dark yellow of the world? Jiangnan Bay City, the headquarters of Extreme Martial Arts Academy. In front of a 3-story villa, Yi Bufan and Wu Tong were waiting quietly. Wu Tong, you guys are here. What are you waiting for? The old man with white hair on the second floor exclaimed, bring someone up quickly. Entering the second floor of the villa, the room was completely empty, but it was no smaller than the martial arts training hall where quasi-warriors were assessed in Mingyue community. Supervisor. When Wu Tong first entered the second floor, he noticed a figure and immediately respectfully shouted. At the Jiangnan Extreme Guild Hall, the highest ranking is the president, and below are the 3 major executives. And the president and 3 executives are the 4 giants of the Jiangnan Extreme Guild Hall. The president will not mention it for now, as the supervisor already holds extremely high power. To become a supervisor, one must first reach the level of advanced warrior general, in terms of strength, and also make significant contributions to the martial arts school and receive sufficient support from war god powerhouses. Indeed, Zhuge Tao, who is ironclad, is a genius in flowing water. Yi Bufan seemed to have thought of something, and his mouth couldn't help but slightly curl up. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Sunbathing the Moon and Absorbing Mindfulness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Sunbathing the Moon and Absorbing Mindfulness. Wu Tong, this young man is Yi Bufan, right? Zhuge Tao smiled and said, I heard that a quasi-martial artist shows a micro-level body method during the assessment. The supervisor did not mention the data on martial arts skills, indicating that Yi Bufan's talent is not as excellent as his body skills. He still values Yi Bufan's intelligence more. Yes, supervisor. Wu Tong respectfully replied, I have already confirmed with the captain before. No problem, that's good, but I still need to upload it to headquarters and may need to record some videos as evidence, Zhuge Tao smiled. Old bye, let's get started. First, review the young man's basic strength, and then record his micro-level body movements. As soon as Zhuge Tao finished speaking, the cameras in the martial arts training hall on the second floor were activated. Yi Bufan, let's test your fist power first, Bai Bo said casually. Previously, he had a rough idea of Yi Bufan's basic strength, so testing was just a process in the eyes of Lao Bai and Zhuge Tao. Who? Yi Bufan pondered for a moment, seemed to have made up his mind, and then walked towards the boxing test machine. I saw Yi Bufan burst into full force in an instant, and his whole body pounced like a cheetah. Pang! A heavy punch with an explosive sound hit the punching target of the punching machine. The display screen of the boxing test machine instantly displayed Yi Bufan's boxing data. 2023 kilograms. Zhuge Tao was momentarily taken aback and looked at Wu Tong in confusion. You seemed to say before that his punching power was only over 900 kilograms, right? Yes, many people have seen it with their own eyes during the assessment of quasi-warriors, Wu Tong nodded. Yi Bufan, have you already read the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven technique and achieved success in cultivation? Zhuge Tao seemed to be surprised by something that came to his mind. Yes, I took a quick look and didn't expect to sense the genetic energy on the spot, Yi Bufan said solemnly. My strength has improved so much, probably due to the absorption of genetic energy. Quickly cultivate your genetic energy, your martial talent and understanding are even higher than I imagined. Zhuge Tao took a deep breath. You're pretty good, but let's continue testing your speed and neural response speed. Yi Bufan conducted speed tests and neural response tests one after another, and his results were also quickly released. Speed test score .50 m/s. Neurological reaction speed test. Excellent intermediate warrior. Through a neural reaction speed test, Zhuge Tao, as a senior advanced general, also instantly determined the fact that Yi Bufan had a subtle level body technique. Very good, the assessment video has been recorded and I have understood your situation and submitted it to the headquarters. Zhuge Tao was also satisfied with Yi Bufan's performance. I need to confirm again, would you be willing to join our extreme martial arts school in advance? No problem. Yi Bufan smiled. Welcome to join our family of extreme martial arts, Zhuge Tao smiled. I believe that Wu Tong may have already told you some of the conditions for a genius like you to join early. Draft a new contract. Modify one of its terms. Yi Bufan's optional body techniques, guidance techniques, and attack techniques secret scripts are free of charge within 1 billion yuan, and I, Zhuge Tao, will pay for them. The rules of extreme martial arts school are indeed very strict. Under normal circumstances, the maximum amount of free secret script for a genius like Yi Bufan is 50 million. In this case, Yi Bufan gets the same treatment as Luo Feng in the original book. Yes, sir. The woman in the white suit looked at Zhuge Tao in surprise, but didn't say much. She immediately went to prepare a new contract. Thank you very much, supervisor. Yi Bufan gratefully said. The amount of free secret scripts is higher, and Yi Bufan can buy more expensive and higher level secret scripts. In addition, the system can simplify the cultivation secrets, and Yi Bufan's initial growth rate will be faster. For example, advanced guidance techniques can increase the efficiency of enhancing the speed of gene-based cultivation and enable Yi Bufan to quickly gain higher strength. For example, if the power level is higher, it can make Yi Bufan fight higher. Of course, Yi Bufan does not want to engage in so-called cross-level battles, or even engage in battles with the same level. He prefers to crush and bully people with lower levels than himself, which is the happiest. As long as his strength remains strong, he can always maintain this kind of happiness. In order to maintain this kind of happiness, he naturally needs stronger strength. As someone with a minimalist system, he needs more expensive and better secrets. This is a virtuous cycle. The increase in the amount of free secret scripts by Zhuge Tao has been of great help to Yi Bufan. Yi Bufan, I am very optimistic about you. Don't worry too much about this small amount of money. Zhuge Tao could also hear that Yi Bufan was truly grateful to him and couldn't help but smile. In fact, his approach of increasing the secret code quota can be considered as an investment. After all, Yi Bufan's intelligence is extremely high, and he cultivated his genetic ability on the first day, so the martial artist's genetic talent is also not low. Spending a little bit of money at this moment to pay Yi Bufan in advance will definitely not do any harm to someone like him who is an investment expert. After signing the contract, Yi Bufan returned to Mingyue community. On the balcony of the second floor of the villa, Yi Bufan moved a lounge chair, but lay on it, quietly waiting for the arrival of night. As for the specialized level sword techniques that have not yet been cultivated, he has plenty of time in the future, so there is no need to be so anxious. As he had anticipated, the progress of the 5 hearts towards heaven method remained stagnant. But around 9 p.m., he finally waited for the system prompt. 5 hearts towards heaven enlightenment plus 5,000. Good guy, the 5 hearts towards heaven technique is really what I expected. It requires sun shining on the moon to complete the practice. Yi Bufan smiled slightly. In the morning sun exposure, Yi Bufan sensed the genetic energy. And this time basking in the moon, he sensed another force. Yi Bufan's thoughts moved and he began to continuously absorb them, with waves of spiritual and mental power constantly flowing into his sea of consciousness. After absorbing some mental energy, Yi Bufan's gaze fell on the recliner below him. Just with every movement of thought, an invisible force instantly took control of the lounge chair. This invisible force is indeed imperceptible to the naked eye. However, Yi Bufan himself could clearly feel that this invisible force was indeed instantly extending from his mind. After a simple experiment, Yi Bufan found that the energy he sensed while sunbathing on the moon was indeed spiritual and mental. In theory, the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method is a genetic energy cultivation method that should not sense spiritual and mental power. After system simplification, the secret script itself is a bit abnormal. Perhaps the simplified recipe can fully sense and absorb 2 basic cosmic energies in the starry sky. Why bother with so much? Yi Bufan smiled slightly. Anyway, after simplifying the system, I can quickly practice and comprehend everything, and my skills are not overwhelming. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Self-Created, Simplified Foundation 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Self-Created, Simplified Foundation 32. Despite that, Yi Bufan also has some concerns. The secrets for martial artists are easy to find, but the secrets for spiritual masters are not easy to find, Yi Bufan thought to himself. Even Luo Feng only obtained a secret technique seriously after his spiritual master reached the peak of the god of war. But the secret scripts are all created by humans, and I am also human. The secrets I create should also be simplified through the system, right? Regardless of whether it can be simplified or not, it is not suitable to simplify the secret script now. After all, the 5 Hearts Towards Heaven method was just simplified in the morning. In a few days, I will recall some of the cultivation details of the original book, Spiritual Mindfulness Master, and see if I can create my own Spiritual Mindfulness Master cultivation method. As for now, it's better to absorb mental energy first. Yi Bufan couldn't help but continue to absorb his mental energy when he thought of this. However, the absorption of spiritual and mental energy was similar to that of genetic energy, and soon he also reached saturation. The reason for this is that Yi Bufan does not have a dark golden ball like Luo Feng, which represents that his hidden mental power is almost non-existent. Yi Bufan naturally cannot have the level of a spiritual mind master that is 2 small realms higher than the level of a martial artist, like Luo Feng. In that case, if Yi Bufan wants to improve his mental level, he must also silently practice hard. It is also about basking in the sun and the moon every day, condensing the essence of the sun and moon to improve strength. Speaking of my strength growth, it's all the result of my hard work, not just through the system's golden finger getting out of thin air. Yi Bufan proudly said. Time flies by rapidly, and after more than 10 days of hard work, Yi Bufan feels that his cultivation has been successful. System. Avenue to Simplicity System. Host. Yi Bufan. Realm. Apprentice Level 2, Medium Warrior Level, Secret Technique. 100% of Advanced Body Method, 100% of Specialized Blade Technique, and 100% of 5 Hearts Towards Heaven Technique. These days, besides practicing, Yi Fan has also briefly summarized the cultivation methods of spiritual masters. After grinding for more than 10 days, he created a secret book that was not even considered a secret book. Because he does not have much understanding of spiritual practitioners, the summarized cultivation methods are almost entirely related to the amplitude of his mental power. The so-called amplitude of psychic power mainly depends on whether it can control how many weapons at the same time, and whether it is the weapon that maintains the strongest attack power. For example, a mental mage is a mid-level warrior-level mental mage who controls a flying knife and can reach a maximum impact force of 4,000 kilograms. If he can control 5 flying knives, each weighing 4,000 kilograms, the total impact force would be 20,000 kilograms. So simultaneously control 10 flying knives, each reaching its highest value, which is 40,000 kilograms of impact force. In short, the number of maximum blessings on the power flying knife represents the amplitude of a spiritual mind master's power. The higher the amplitude of the mental power of a same-level mental thinker, the stronger their strength can be compared to their peers. As for how to increase the number of controlled hidden weapons and maintain the maximum power of each hidden weapon, Yi Bufan did not think of any good solution. Only through a concept similar to practice makes perfect, punching 1,000 times, and realizing its meaning, can a simple spiritual practice book be created. Simply put, it means constantly refining Yi Bufan to control the limit of the flying knife, thereby achieving the effect of increasing the amplitude of the chanting power. Although it was very difficult for Yi Bufan to cultivate, he didn't really care. System, can I simplify my self-created spiritual mindfulness master cultivation method? Yi Bufan couldn't help but wonder. To be honest, in the system panel just now, Yi Bufan did not see his self-created spiritual mindfulness master cultivation method in the secret method category. Obviously, the secret code he created himself is really garbage, and the system is too lazy to include it. The self-created spiritual mindfulness master cultivation method is now included and has been completed. Sleeping slot. Yi Bufan's eyes lit up when he saw the system prompt. The so-called self-created secret script and simplification is just a bold idea of Yi Bufan before. But he never expected that his self-created secret script could really be included in the system. This naturally also represents that the system can simplify his self-created secrets. Although his self-created secret script is very rubbish, it is also a secret script. The simplified cultivation difficulty is definitely lower than the cultivation difficulty of his self-created secret script. Simplify the spiritual mindfulness master practice method. Yi Bufan's mind twitched. In the simplification of the spiritual mindfulness master cultivation method, 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%, 100%, the spiritual mindfulness master cultivation method has been successfully simplified. Basic 32 forms. Seeing the simplified cultivation method of the system, Yi Bufan really breathed a sigh of relief this time. The previous system simplifications were too unorthodox, and I didn't expect his self-created secret method to be surprisingly so serious after simplification. Is it because I am not serious or because the secret method is not serious that this improper result occurred? Yi Bufan's mouth twitched. After a little contemplation of the reason, Yi Bufan was not pondering anymore. He felt that if he continued to ponder like this, his whole person would become unorthodox. As for the basic 32 forms of spiritual mindfulness, Yi Bufan seems to have remembered something. Number 9 Ruins. Yi Bufan's gaze fixed. If he remembers correctly, Luo Feng once visited the number 9 ruins, which are engraved with the secret foundation of the Control Master, of the Spiritual Mind Master, Type 312. The basic 312 style of the 9th ruins is vast and profound, and in terms of its level of intelligence and depth, it is countless times more advanced than the Spiritual Mindfulness Master Foundation, purchased by Luo Feng for 3 stars. Star. This is a unit created by Hong casually to measure prices. For example, Dragon Blood only requires 1 star, which shows the value of the Foundation of Spiritual Mindfulness Masters. However, the Foundation of Spiritual Mindfulness, that Luo Feng originally purchased is only the crystallization of human wisdom on Earth in recent decades. Just like the spiritual cultivation method created by Yi Bufan himself, it is just a matter of imagination. However, Basic 312 style has gone through billions of eras and countless tests of strong players, making it the best spiritual master's secret method to lay a foundation. In the distant past, I don't know how many strong people laid the foundation with this secret technique. After practicing the Foundation of Spiritual Mindfulness Master and Basic 312 forms, Luo Feng expressed some surprised emotions. If I had obtained this secret book, Fundamentals of Spiritual Mindfulness Master, a year ago, my strength would have been twice as strong as I am now. When Luo Feng obtained the secret script of the Foundations of Spiritual Minders, his amplitude of chanting power was 6 times, and after doubling, his amplitude of chanting power was 12 times. Later, Luo Feng immersed himself in Basic 312 style, from controlling 6 blades to controlling 10 blades, only 2 months and 21 days had passed. From this comparison, the speed at which Luo Feng cultivates Basic 312 forms is more than twice as fast as the speed at which he cultivates Spiritual Mindfulness Master Foundation. Compared to the names, Basic 32 style and basic 312 style are similar, so the cultivation speed should not differ much. Bufan smiled slightly. Although type 32 is clearly incomplete and may have some omissions, it is still enough for me to lay the foundation. I just don't know if I can continue to simplify after obtaining the real, basic 312 formula. End of this chapter.